This is ppc.zone October 2025 Challenging Assumptions. I'm your host, Jill Saskin-Gales. I use the pronouns she and her. I'm a Google Ads coach, ex-Googler, and the founder of the Inside Google Ads course, podcast, and book. I created ppc.zone in 2022 to elevate new perspectives and insights in our industry. Before we get started, I do want to mention that if you're running ads in Europe, Google's consent mode isn't optional anymore. You can't properly track conversions without it, which means your campaigns are flying blind and you're wasting ad spend. That's where our sponsor, Cookiebot by Usercentrics, comes in. Cookiebot automatically manages user consent on your site, and it connects seamlessly with Google Consent Mode. With Cookiebot, your Google Ads campaigns keep their conversion tracking and analytics optimization even when users opt out of cookies. This means more accurate reporting, smarter bidding, and better ROI. I use Cookiebot on my own website. It is quick and easy to set up. If I can do it, you can do it. And it lets me turn compliance into my competitive edge. You can sign up for a free trial of Cookiebot by Usercentrics, all while supporting ppc.zone by going to consent.ppc.zone. That's consent.ppc.zone to start your free trial of Cookiebot by Usercentrics. Consent.ppc.zone. Next up in the zone, this speaker is a digital marketer with 10 years of experience working with clients like UNIQLO and Conair. Today, she's sharing her perspective on how to experiment your way to excellence. Please welcome Mel Katz.
Hello, thank you for the wonderful introduction, Jill. As she mentioned, this is Experiment to Excellence, designing marketing tests that drive results. We're going to go through a few different testing formats that you may be familiar with and some may be new to you. So to get started, we have our very common A/B test. You've probably seen or ran these before where it's a single variable. Maybe you're running one version on your landing page and you have a second landing page version. You're comparing that performance. It's commonly used for like landing pages, emails, product pages, etc. Multivariate tests are used for similar types of content, so landing pages and emails as well. But you're using multiple iterations of content and you're determining which of those elements are driving that strong performance. Something that's a little bit less common would be like lift testing, which is you're comparing things like awareness, consideration. It's more of those soft, mushy top of funnel metrics that might otherwise be difficult to capture. This is really more common in paid media to record what that lift is like from running those ads. And you're seeing how your ad performs against a population versus a control population that does not get your ad. And then if you think about it, a holdout test is the inverse of this, where it's you're running your marketing program except to a specific audience, demographic, or community to determine what the opportunity cost looks like if you were to scale it. Now, Riva covered a lot of great questions, and I'm going to add a few as well. So talking about what type of test are we running, what you can run one of the ones that I just mentioned, or maybe a different type, determining the length of the test that you're going to run. And you want to factor in things like scaling, giving it sufficient time to gather insights and data to make decisions, determining your metric for success. So commonly you could use a key performance metric like cost per click, click-through rate, session duration. I'm also going to emphasize the importance of following a secondary as well as a primary KPI. So you have your primary, what you're looking at, and then secondary KPIs that can help inform your overall performance and provide context for that first KPI. And then most importantly, why are we running this at all? What are we trying to determine? So what is the point of this? And then also, what are we doing with this information as soon as we've gathered it, and how are we going to act on it? I'm going to throw you back very quickly to grade school and the scientific method. So we're going to take this and purpose it for an example test. So for example, we have our observation. So maybe you notice that listing images with a green background are the strongest performers. So you ask a question based off of that information. So if we were to add a green background to other product image listings, or listing images rather, will it lift the sales of those items? Based off of both of these, you create a hypothesis. So this is our educated guess based on what we know. So based on what we've seen, we would predict that listings with the new green background will perform better, and then acting this out in an experiment. So we could do an A/B test with product listings, maybe one with a current image, one with a new image, and compare how it performs based off of traffic sent to them. We're going to roll with the example of an A/B test because it's the most straightforward test format. So here's an example of how you could capture data in a performance table. So here's our product units sold table. That's our KPI. We just want to see the gross volume. I'm going to include our test months. So we have weeks broken out 1 through 4. We also have 2 pre-test weeks, so we can get a sense of the cadence of how things are selling before we even plug in this new variable. So looking at this, you might look at our totals, total volume. Variant A, let's say, is our new iteration of the product with the green background. And it looks like it maybe didn't perform as well as variant B. So end of test, right? Well, I want to remind you back to where we talked about secondary KPIs, because supporting KPIs can tell us a lot about what this information means in context. So if we use our secondary KPIs of conversion rate and year-over-year unit sales, we actually find some really interesting things. Instead, we find that there is a lift phenomenon being provided with the addition of the new product listing. So actually, interestingly enough, there's enough volume created by both iterations that, let's say, it lifts the overall performance. So year over year, you're actually up because of that significant contribution because of both iterations. Interesting. And then also you might find that, so it's driving people, maybe different people are buying from the different iterations. So that can inform your next decision, right? So maybe we need to have more variants with product listings, or maybe we can act on this with more varieties of product listing posted. In previous years, something like data visualization would have been a section about how to use Excel to create data-focused charts. Instead, we now have AI. So this was a chart created off of the previous example data that was made in under a minute. So I think of this as being a prompt engineer. So I plugged in my inputs. I asked it to create a weekly performance chart comparing the variance and then showing the conversion rates, as well as providing it with the date range that we're using to compare. But the note of caution here is that you always want to QA your outputs. And what I tell my direct reports is to treat your language learning models like an intern. The first output might not be correct. So I want to leave you with a few considerations. One is that you want to be clear about what your objective or objectives are before launching. You want to make sure that you're clear about what your variable or multiple variables are at a time. You need to allow enough time for optimization. So something that I didn't mention in the previous slide was maybe the version B that had been running without the green background, maybe that had more time to optimize over, it does, in fact, it would have had more time to optimize over the green variant background. So maybe if there's additional time given, there could be different results. Comparing variants under similar conditions, so it could be like things like seasonality, different audience buying patterns that can fluctuate when year over year is not being used as a constant. Looking for indirect and direct effects, and balancing your quantitative results with what you know about your audience and their shopping patterns. And then finally, documenting your learning and using that to inform your future tests. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you got something valuable out of this presentation.
Thank you so much, Mel, for sharing your unique perspective and insights with us in the Zone. If you'd like to connect with Melanie Katz, you can find her on LinkedIn. Our next event will be in December 2025, and we are confirming the lineup right now. So if you would like to apply to speak at an upcoming PPC Zone event, you can do so on our website at ppc.zone. Thank you one more time to our sponsor, CookieBot by UserCentrics, for supporting our mission to elevate new perspectives and insights in our industry. You can learn more at consent.ppc.zone. I'm your host, Jill Saskin-Gales. Be sure to follow me on LinkedIn and/or subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you don't miss future PPC Zone events. I look forward to seeing you next time in the Zone.